Welcome back. This is Chili Davis, and I'm back to do another video. I want to welcome back to all my subscribers and welcome to my new viewers. Thank you for stopping by. Click the like, click the notification bell to get the updates. Tonight's video is about my trip to China back in 2013. It's doing pretty well. So I took a trip over to China, visited 3 or 4 cities, mainly Beijing, Xian, Hangzhou, and Shanghai. And then I went on to visit Hong Kong. So, and actually in Hong Kong, they do speak a different language. But anyway, for this video, we're going to just go over a couple wikis, and this is a introductory picture of the 2008 Summer Olympics taken from the National Stadium called the BirdNest. And this is the traditional dancer. And this is the opening ceremonies at BirdNest at the 2008 Summer Olympics. So we are in 2021. As you know, next week will be the 2021 Summer Olympics in Japan. So this is just a throwback from 2008, and I visited China in 2013. So this is an elegant picture. Very, very well done. Done at the BirdNest. So if you want to know what the BirdNest looks like, this was the BirdNest. I'll put the links below, but this is like a, super fast picture of the BirdNest being built. And you can see this, probably several places on the web. I actually visited this place too on my tour as well. And it was great, just awesome experience. But if you know anything about China, actually, they have a little bit of fog and smoke, so it's smog. But this is just a fast picture. They showed the BirdNest being built, and it looks more spectacular in person, actually. So just geographically, here are the 3 places I visited: Beijing, Xian. I think we took a train to Hangzhou, and then we took another train to Shanghai. So then we flew from Shanghai to Hong Kong before we left. So it was a trip for about 14 days. It was a great time. We did have a guide, so that was perfect because I didn't speak any Chinese. So, and back then, all we had was Skype. So we didn't have a lot of stuff we have now. Well, I'm not even sure Instagram was around. But as you know, the internet in China is closed off too. So it's very private. So anyway, so we visit Beijing. And just to give you an idea, that I think this was probably one of the places we got our tour guide from. It was a 14-day tour. We did visit the Forbidden City. We did visit Great Wall. We did visit the infamous Tiananmen Square, where the person was standing in front of the tank. So if you ever seen, I don't know, Matchbox 21, there's a famous scene where there was some protests going on, and there was a person standing in front of a tank. So this is at Tiananmen Square. Also, we did see Temple of Heaven. There's some gorgeous, stuff that you will see that is phenomenal. The community walk at Hangzhou. No, I don't think we did that. We did visit Summer Palace. We did not do Ming's tombs. There was so much to do, but we did several things. So this was our first day arriving in Beijing at the Crown Plaza. Now, if you know anything about China and some other countries outside the United States, you have to stay at very high end because you don't want to stay at places where things could be suspect. So like, for example, here, a 5-star might be phenomenal. A Marriott here may be a 5-star. But if you're going to stay in that same place in China, in Beijing, you want to stay at like a 7 diamond or 5 diamond. You want to stay like 2 tiers up. So we stayed at the Crown Plaza right here in Beijing. And that was our first day upon arrival. We were really happy. I think it was a 24-hour flight from San Francisco to Beijing. So that was the first day. And this is again, this is the first day. I believe we're at the Forbidden Palace. And this was a picture we took too. So you see, I'm wearing the classic Star Wars shirt. Let me see. Temple, Confucius. Okay, and then again, this is something else we visited. Beijing Olympic Park, as I talked about the Bird's Nest, we visited there as well. So it was really great. See it. And they had, I think it was a 5 diamond or 7 diamond hotel. It's called like the presidential, where President Bush came and stayed when they had the Olympics back in 2008. I think it was a 7 diamond hotel, and it was literally a shape of a diamond, a shape of a dragon. I mean, so that was cool. And it was right across from the Bird's Nest here. So let me go on. So there's some other sites, some of the beautiful architecture done in China. This is one of the temples. It was phenomenal there. This was Summer Palace. Let's go back to the brochure here. So yes, we stayed at the Summer Palace, used for summer retreats by the great emperors. So if you don't know anything about China, the way the cities are built, Beijing, for example, is built with like a circle, and within the middle is from tradition and for history, that is where the emperor stayed, and he stayed behind a great wall. So when you talk about the Great Wall of China, that is just one of many walls. So if you think about a ring, a wall within a wall, and a big loop. So the emperor would only come out like once a month to speak. And if you ever seen one of those big bells or cymbals where they hit the gong and the gong comes out, that was how the emperor spoke. He spoke like once a month to the people, and he stayed in the innermost ring of the city. So yeah, we had visited the Forbidden City, and like I said, the second place the emperor went every summer was the Summer Palace. So he tended to retreat at the Summer Palace. And this was us at the Summer Palace. I love the dragon architecture. This is a doorbell. Let me see. Okay, yeah, this is one of my favorite pictures. This is the dragon at the Summer Palace. And also, I was quite a celebrity there, so it was quite fun. But I did like the architecture of the door knockers there. I mean, there was way more pictures than this, but I just had a great time. So again, this was Beijing. And this is the Great Wall of China. So this is me. Basically, there's like 4 parts of the hill, excuse me, 4 parts of the wall. And this one, we took a ski lift up to the very top of it. So there was, actually, believe it or not, there was a wall, because basically that wall travels the coast of China and Mongolia. So you have some people that live, on the other side of this wall, but not like right on the side of the wall. But basically, we were on the China side of the China wall, and there was a place where you could take either we took the ski lift up. There was a walking challenge, but we took the ski lift. And I think there was like a slide challenge where you could take a long slide back from the very top of the wall back to the lower ground around the Great Wall of China. So that was me in 2013. Another place we saw was Terracotta Warriors. So that was in Xian. And these were just, again, some sculptures. And again, we had a tour guide everywhere we went. So this was our tour guide while we were in Beijing. Okay, so I'm going to just use Wiki here. Terracotta Army is a collection of terracotta sculptures, the armies of the Emperor Qin Shi Huang, was a Chinese monarch during the Qin dynasty. And he basically reigned all the area of China in the Xian area outside of Shanghai, China. And I have a few pictures from there too. So this is us right before entering the Terracotta Warrior area. And this talks about those real life pits. So the 3 underground pits are built and similar to basic earth and wood structure. They are all about 5 meters beneath, and the corridors divided. And the earth was sustained wooden roof and composed of huge, strong rafters. And the slopes road were ramped up by earth, and all these constructed totally concealed by the Terracotta Army. Now, back in this time, this emperor years ago believed that if the emperor died, he believed that he would have his spirit protected. And so basically, he had his soldiers go out within the city. This is way back when, in the pre-1800s. These caverns were discovered by a farmer. He was just like one day digging, and he accidentally bumped into these caverns. And but going back to the emperor, he believed that if he had these sculptures around him, that he would be protected while in the after death life. And if you looked at each soldier, they were all handcrafted and painted with fine detail and unique faces. And this was great because everybody's been to Disney World, and you go to World of Worlds, you go to Epcot Center, and you see Terracotta Warriors, but this is for real. It's a lot of dust, but it's just awesome what they found out of these 8,000 soldiers, chariots, and horses sculptured. So again, it was discovered back in 1974 by a group of farmers. The Clintons have visited these tombs. A lot of famous people have visited these pits. I have visited these pits, and I was always amazed by these warrior, but there's several of them, and they're just so unique. This is one that was fully restored, and this is what it would have looked like. Now I want to show you a couple pictures. So these are being restored and clean, and you see some of them are chipped and stuff like that, but I had a great time. It was just awesome. And this is me sitting at one of the pits. Now this is like a large football field. So they discovered it, and if you can see here, this is where all the dirt is and stuff like that. So they have like archaeologists constantly dusting and weaving and finding different stuff behind it. So that's me. And this is some of the warriors that they have enclosed and stuff. And just like at most museums, they have some sort of audio that you can listen to the story of what was the history, just like I told you a little bit from the wiki site. And again, me, this is another picture. I was eating pretty good at this time, so I was not short of pounds. Now, this is a monk, and I just love some of these. They were just phenomenal, the detail and the monasteries, the monks, and some of their deities, stuff like that. So, and this was a trip we took on the bullet train. So just go back to the map. We were in Beijing, and I believe we took a bullet train, either Xian or Hangzhou. Now, during the Olympics, they talked about the 2008 Olympics. They talk about the main cities, you know, Beijing, Xian, and Shanghai, and I think maybe Hong Kong was involved in the Olympics 2008. But there were several other cities within China that were there too. So Hangzhou was one of them. So just like how here we say, oh, New York City, well, there they have a whole bunch of smaller cities that add up, that are actually almost as big as Beijing, almost as big as Shanghai. They're just not culturally outside of China known about. So one of those cities was Hangzhou. And this is me, a trip. We were in Hangzhou, and this was not a Chinese tourist. This was actually a Korean tourist. So at this time, I didn't really know, but this was a Korean tourist. So that's my trip in China. So didn't really register at that time because it was my first time overseas. So we talked about some of these places, the Nest, a lot of history in China, a lot of beautiful art and stuff like that. Got a couple more pictures. Now, I believe this is Shanghai. This is like the tallest building in China. This is like the Skyworks building, and this is like where the floor is glass, and you can actually walk along the floor and see like 30,000 feet down. So this was like one of the tallest buildings. We talked about Terracotta Warriors in Xian, the city of Xian. And again, we stayed at like a 5-diamond hotel there as well. I couldn't find a map of Hong Kong. So as you can see, we stayed mostly in the mainland of China, but then we did go to Hong Kong, so we did have to take a plane to Hong Kong. Shanghai, I did see this place here. This is a phenomenal thing to see in person, but this was very modern back in 2013. So I'm sure it's even more expanded now. Shanghai was just awesome. Some great pictures of Shanghai. And Shanghai reminds me a lot about like New York City, but very futuristic actually. I think we went to Burger King, KFC, and a couple of those other places. Because after the first week you're there and you get like real cuisine, real Chinese cuisine, like I think a few places we got like broccoli and chicken. It is so rich. It tastes really like broccoli and chicken, and it's so strong. So after about the 7th or 8th day, we were tired of Chinese, real, Chinese food. And I learned how to eat with chopsticks and stuff like that. But after a couple of days, you just want some American food. I think we had turkey or something like fried duck. That's what it was. We had fried duck. So, let's see. Okay, this is another place. We visited several outside little towns. And this was one of the caves we went into. It was a great tour. It was phenomenal. This is a river town or lake town. We actually took a little tour on the boat through the river town. This is like right outside of Shanghai. It had a great time. Okay, I think that's, let's see. I've got a couple more pictures because we went to Hong Kong as well. So talked about Beijing. We talked about Xian, that was the Terracotta Warriors. So Beijing was mainly the Great Wall of China. That's bordering Mongolia, I think, up here. And then we went to Xi'an where we saw the Terracotta Warriors, and then we went to Shanghai. Very similar to like New York, very modern. Actually, I would say futuristic. I really like Shanghai. I would love to go back to Shanghai. Had a great time. Just so much to do. At night, it was beautiful. It was phenomenal. Okay, so I've got a couple more pictures, but I didn't put them in order, so I'll just cycle through them. Let's see. Yeah, this is me in Hong Kong. And now, just like we have the Walk of Fame in Hollywood, they have the Walk of Fame in Hong Kong. And this is the Bruce Lee statue. Now, this may look very familiar because if you see some of the Olympics pictures, I think there was a statue for the 2008 Olympics here too. But this is a statue of Bruce Lee. He is highly reverent in Hong Kong. And of course, you see the Panasonic. I mean, telling you, Hong Kong is phenomenal too. Because it wasn't given back to China until recently, I think in the early 2000s. It was under British rule. So it is almost as close as you can get to being like English/American style, and was not under the Chinese rule up until maybe 10 years ago. So Hong Kong felt very modern, but very much remind me a lot of Shanghai, a lot of good stuff, but it sits on a small piece of plot of water, an island. So everything he built is upwards. So again, this is just, some of Hong Kong, reverence to Bruce Lee. The star-studded actor Bruce Lee died early in life. Just really sad story. He brought a lot of great movies to America, Enter the Dragon, and following and such. So this is Bruce Lee. That's what that statue. And this is a picture of Hong Kong. This is late at night. And this is great. What else do we have? Okay. Now in Hong Kong, this is famous. They drive on the other side of the road, but also the red taxi. The red taxi is very special. This was like a very significant piece. You don't see the red taxi in China mainland. Again, this is Hong Kong. Some of the skyscrapers that we saw from the water side, the Walk of Fame. This is Hyundai. So Hyundai actually has some buildings in Hong Kong. Again, that's me. That Hangzhou. About Xian, Terracotta Warriors, Bullet Train, Terracotta Warriors. Now, this was a beach actually in Hong Kong. So again, they like the beach too. And we had a great time. We just went and seen the beach. It wasn't like we actually spent time on the beach. So the first three places we went to, Beijing, Xi'an, and Shanghai, we were under a tour guide. But when we got to Hong Kong, we were completely on our own. And actually, Hong Kong is like considered like upscale a little bit. So if you're able to travel to and from the mainland, you're a little bit considered a little bit more well-to-do. And they take it serious if you say you're from mainland versus you say you're from Hong Kong. We were trying to get to Macau. That's like the famous MGM Grand Resort. It's like a little island outside of Hong Kong. So, but you got to take a boat out there. So anyway, this was the beach in Hong Kong. That's it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this was our driver in Shanghai. We had a guide for each city, and they take it seriously. After you visit each, like if you go out to the, like each day you're out. So we were there for a total of 14 days. I think the last 3 were in Hong Kong on our own. But let's just say the first 10 days when we were in the other 3 cities, we had a guide. They came, picked us up at the beginning of the morning, and they took us to the place. I mean, they took us to several places during the day. Took us to eat, took us to Summer Palace, took us to Great Wall of China. But at the end of the day, they took us, I think they had pearls and a lot of other special type of jewelry or some sort of tourism place, but they were required by the government to take us by the tourist place. At the end of the day, at each guide had to take us to a place to be able to at least think about purchasing stuff from the government tourist stores. So again, this is Hong Kong, Summer Palace, Xian, Shanghai, Hangzhou. I think that was it. I should have had a few more. Because, yeah, this was the theater. They have something like Circus Soleil there, but it's actually their version of Circus de Soleil. Tomorrow. Oh. So this is, again, this is a tour guide took over, but this is us going to the theater, Shanghai. And again, like they are very cautious about that. They took us. And here's another, this is the WaterTown. So I was impressed by some of the writing. And I did buy some, what did I buy? Ginger. I bought some fresh ginger while I was there. And it was delicious. And it actually helped my mind think a little better, clear. So if you're ever in China, definitely get some ginger. And this was us communicating with the locals, because after a few days being there, you get tired of being around the whole touristy. Okay, then you go here, then you go there. They take you all these formal like meetings and stuff. And so the tour guide actually took us to a WaterTown outside of Shanghai. Okay. And these are just quick pitch. This is Shanghai at night. I don't know. I took a quick spin, but it reminded me a lot about like New York stuff. So let me see if I add any other videos. We did the WaterTown, Shanghai at night, and Shanghai Circus de Soleil. Okay, yeah, I got a couple more pictures, guys. This was Hangzhou. This is a quick picture in Hangzhou. This is the Burger King. So again, they have same stuff. It was a big enough place. They had, same stuff. What else? This is another picture of the WaterTown. We did take a nice little boat tour in the water. Let's see here. I think I messed that up. All right, and you guys saw that real quick. We were at a shopping center, and there it is. It was a Cold Stone Creamery in Shanghai. So that was cool. And like, just to go back here, they are serious about detail. You can't see that, but just the ceiling and all that, they're serious about that. Everything gets detailedly painted in a lot of these cities. So that was my trip to China. There's a couple more pictures. I was fascinated by the architecture there. Let's see. A lot of these emperor entrances, they had to have like soldiers guarding it. So this is a common theme. And as you can see, the dragon heads right here. Usually it's on each end. Can't see the other end. But as you enter a building or you enter a house, usually they have some form of soldier or mythic dragon guarding it. Now, this was a great garden we went to, and I really liked it. It was really serene and relaxing. And China. Okay. All right. I think that's it. So again, I thank you for stopping by. If you have any opinions about China, I'd love to hear them. If you ever visited China or you think about visiting China, I would love to hear your comments. So again, this was my trip to China back in 2013, where I visited Shanghai, Beijing, Xian, and Hong Kong. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and please like and share.